Another question. I am a new entrepreneur. Pricing out projects is super tough for me. I very rarely see a profit at the end of each one, despite making changes each time. How can I price competitively while ensuring at the end of my work the company has something to show for it? That is an amazing question. Um, and before I answer, I will tell you that I am a student of pricing and that I don't have the answer for that. But I'll tell you kind of my discovery over the last 4 or 5 years now. The last discovery over the 5 years, my journey, if you will, on pricing, and then kind of eventually getting to where I am today. So when I was a consultant, I was billing out at anywhere between 250 to 500, 250 to and 350, $100 an hour. That is not what I was making, but that is what my firm was billing me out at. And when I came out on my own, my first project was $50 a month. Actually, it was $100 a month. And then my partner at the time gave a $50 discount because the client voiced, $100, that's a lot of money. And I wanted to cry. Actually, that was probably one of the moment and one of the many moments in entrepreneurship where I broke down and cried and thought to myself, what the hell am I doing? Um, and it was really the lack of confidence and the lack of knowing. And I'll speak a little bit to the idea of pricing. There's two ideas of pricing. One is that we add value into it. We put work, we put effort, we put raw material into it, and therefore something that we do creates value. So, if I take plastic and mold and buy equipment and mold them into a widget, and I spend X amount of hours onto it, now this widget is worth something to someone. That's one way to price it. That is probably the industrial revolution way to price it, and it's terrible. In the world of professionals, so if you're a designer, app developer, or if you're a lawyer, our version of that is the billable hour, and the billable hour is a disaster. The billable hour is something that is created, I think, back in 1911, 100 years ago, and the idea of that is that if we spend enough hours into it, we create a value. But any professional will know that that is not true. Everything that we create, everything that we make, me accounting, a digital agency, apps and websites and logos, law firm, attestation, cases, contract review. We think that if we spend 10, 20, 30 hours, that's worth something to someone. But that is not always the case. There are a ton of times, especially when I was an associate, I remember, there are a ton of times that I would spend hours on tasks that I have to do. One example would be copy and pasting. Copy and pasting data. So when I was an associate, I needed to analyze data. And in order to analyze data, I first need to organize it. And some amount of that is literally going through hundreds of thousands of lines or tens of thousands of lines in Excel and copying and pasting before I can analyze this data. And I will bill out $150 an hour to copy and paste in Excel. That is not worth $150 an hour to anybody. So why do we keep doing that? And the reason for that is we don't know any other way. We don't know better. That's what the firm taught us. That's what corporate taught us. That's what it's been done in the profession for the last 100 years. So fast forward to today, how do we try to price, right? And super hard. The way we try to price is we try to determine the value. The thing is that there's a value to everything. In the case of a website, let's say, in the case of a logo, what does that logo mean to me as a company? DeepSky has a logo. Actually, we had 3 logos. The first logo I drew by myself. The second logo I went on 99 Design, and so I paid, I think, $200 or $300 for it. That was the value for me. That was what I can afford, and that was the value for my brand. And then there is the logo that we have today, which we actually have a marketing firm, a digital agency, a really great marketing firm designed and built for us. and that costs us a ton more than 99 what 99 design cost us. And that's because well, one, we had growth and we can afford that now, and two, it's because it's worth it for us. So we always say, how do you price? You should always, there's two aspects. You shouldn't confuse pricing and cost accounting together. Cost accounting is the things that you track, like, hey, you know what? If you want to track how much time I invest in, if you want to track, what are the expenses that I did, if you want to track sort of the facilities overhead and all of that, that's on your P&L. You see that. You see how much or how little you make money. But how do you price should really have nothing to do with how you cost. So how you cost should just be a bottom, a floor, right? You don't want to go below that. But how you price should always come from the client, right? What is the client value? What is their issue? What is their pain, right? What are their alternatives? If they don't use you, what are their choices? What are their alternatives? How much do the alternative cost? You can't price more than what the market will accept. So if you go from that, let's say, and DeepSky has a formula. We always try to go at least 5x. All right. So if we're going to charge someone $20,000 a year to do accounting, we better make sure that we create at least $100,000 in value. And the value can be things that's super tangible and material, such as if they don't hire us and they hire someone in-house, well, how much does in-house accounting cost, right? What are the problems with that? What are the issues with that? Or maybe they're doing fundraising. If they're looking to fund $20 million, and we are the one that's providing all of the due diligence report, we're only providing all the financials, we're answering all the questions. I don't know, maybe 1% of 20 million, 200,000, $20,000. That sounds like a fair price. So it's always based on what the customer's perceived value is. And if you're a professional, if you're producing goods, then it's a little tougher to do. But if you're a professional and you're providing service, it's a case by case. So it's a harder process, but it's definitely a more profitable process, and it makes more sense. And it puts you on the same side as the client. So now, do we still do work that lose money? Yeah. There are tons of times that we have to spend hours upon hours on just sorting through data, sorting through numbers, and figuring that out. And we charge our clients, $500 or $1,000, and we don't make money on that. But that's because, despite the effort that we put in, the value created wasn't all that much, and that's fine because we make it up in other projects. So definitely split out pricing and costing into two separate things and look at them separately, and then just work on that. Should definitely help. When I'm still a student, so talk to me in 6 months. I might give you a different version answer.